Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this evening's courageous conversation that is titled, What's on Your Mind, What's on Your Heart, with Dr. Joyce Morley, board member, District 7. Let me make sure I get that right. As you enter the room, please share in the chat how you're feeling right now. Are you happy? Are you sad? Are you tired? Are you feeling blessed? Are you feeling joyful? I'm feeling super fantastic. So just that one word that will tell us how you're feeling as you join us this evening, just drop it in the chat. I see blessed.
Happy.
Encouraged. Wonderful. Grateful. Favored. Grateful again. Blessed again, thankful.
We have thankful, happy.
Yes.
A lot of grateful people.
Yes. Blessed to be tired, excited. Awesome. Thank you for sharing. That means everybody is feeling great about being on this side of the daisies because we could be on the other side. So without further ado, I will introduce Dr. Joyce Morley so that she can get us into the conversations about what's on our mind and what's on our heart. Dr. Morley.
Thank you, Ms. Coward. Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. And I'm so glad that you all are not waiting to Thanksgiving to say how thankful you are. You know, I'm doing my e-blast for this month, and it's like we always wait 11 months to tell people how thankful and how grateful you are. I am so glad that you all are here this evening. I really appreciate each and every one of you all being here this evening. And you know, we have these courageous conversations every spring and every fall of each year. And it's to be able to look at what's going on with our students, our families, our community, our stakeholders. It's all about our children. It's all about the families. It's all about what's going on in the community. It's all about parents. You know, this month is Family Community Engagement Month. And so as a part of this, it was amazing how this fit right into it. And one of the things that we wanted to look at with everything that's been going on with the COVID-19 coronavirus and the pandemic and all the things before that is looking at and understanding what's on your mind, what's on your heart. There are a lot of things on our minds, and too often we don't have an opportunity to be able to say those things that are on our minds. There are a lot of things on our hearts. Our hearts are heavy, and we don't often have time to be able to say that. Our people don't want to hear it. Sometimes they'll say that they want to hear it, but the minute you speak the truth, they go somewhere else. They really don't want to deal with the truth. So here's your opportunity tonight with everyone here to be able to say what's on your mind, what's on your heart. We have a wonderful, awesome program here. I want to thank Ms. Coward and her team. I want to thank the superintendent, Ms. Watson Harris, for her part in all of this. I want to thank the parents, the families, the students, Dr. Moore Sanders. We'll get to all of that at the end with all the thank you. But the bottom line comes down to it. It's all about our children. It's all about our community. It's about our families, about the stakeholders. These are the ones who we're vested in and invested in to make sure everything is going on. District 7, not District 6, District 7 is the great district. And notice that it is the perfect number 7. So that means everything great, grand, good, and wonderful, not perfect, but in excellence and exemplary that comes out of District 7. So I want to thank you all for being here tonight. Don't be afraid to be able to speak when the opportunity comes. Don't be afraid to be able to put your feelings, your thoughts, what's on your mind, what's on your heart in the chat. This is all about you. It's all for you. And so we welcome you tonight. And I am so glad that you all took time out of your busy schedule with the darkness upon us to be able to say how you feel, what you think, what's on your mind, what's on your heart. So welcome tonight.
Awesome. At this time, I'm going to ask Richard, who is going to facilitate this conversation this evening, to share some of the exciting accomplishments that were sent in from some of our District 7 schools.
Hello, my name is Sean Deese, and I'm the proud principal of Splashing Dunair Elementary, a happy place where children are first. Today I'm going to share a little bit of information of why we say that we splash here at Dunair. Let me start with the acronym SPLASH. Students practicing learning, attitude, safety, and honesty. It all starts right there. The next thing that we do, we splash into the 4 C's of success. That is customization, collaboration, communication, and calibration. And this year we're going to add 3 additional C's that are focused with the district in clarity, community, and culture. Speaking of culture, at Dunair Elementary, we have over 38 different languages that are spoken here at Dunair. That's represented by 27 different countries. In addition to that, we also have a decrease in the number of office referrals that have been written. Those office referrals have gone from 232 4 years ago down to 2 this year. We also have increased the number of students who have actually stayed in the school. 4 years ago, we had 17% of our students to withdraw in the first quarter of the year. This year, we've only had 7%. In addition to that, we've also stabilized the teachers here at Dunair Elementary. Only 3 teachers have transferred in the last 4 years. So as we move forward, we have 5 focus areas that we will focus on. First, we will focus on the curriculum, getting the big idea and understanding what it is that our students will work on together in order to focus on the state standards as well as the district standards. Instructional delivery. How do we deliver that information to make sure that we're focusing on constructivism, which is developing a learning style that is where children build off of their current knowledge. We also, for those students who are still struggling, we will focus on our MTSS, which is our multi-tier systems of support. And finally, we will focus on PBIS. That is where the culture and the community comes in. We've built many partnerships with the YMCA, Ray of Hope, DeKalb, Decatur Community Base, as well as Integrity Children's Fund. These are all different organizations that have helped support our community here at Dunair. This is just a little bit of information about the splashing things that we're doing here with our pod, People of Diversity. So as you see, we are on the move. Thank you and have a splashing evening.
Hi, my name is Valeria Breda. I'm in 5th grade. I know I speak Spanish. I come from Mexico, and if you would like to say hi, how are you in Spanish, it would be hola, ¿cómo estás? I like the elementary because of all the teachers and how nice they are. And I can
Hi, my name is Wilfred Ahmed, and I'm a fifth grader from Mr. Gillis' class. I am from Togo, and here are some reasons why I like Daniel. It's because we have great teachers, excellent principals, and we get to have recess.
My name is Esther Vansipar, and I'm from Burma. I speak the languages Lagdo and Hakka. I like Daniel because I get to learn how to write better. And if you would like to say thank you in my language, it would be Ichala.
Hi, I am Rashad. I'm in 4th grade, and this is why I think Daniel is a splashing place, because we have a great principal and great teachers.
Hi, my name is Larissa Jashari, and I am a 5th grader from Mr. Gether's class. I speak the language Albanian, and the way to say hi, how are you, is Chushe Ayamir. I lived in elementary school because of all the excellent things the teachers and students have done for us here.
Greetings. I bring you greetings from Redan Middle School. I am the proud principal of Redan Middle School, Karen I. Davis. I wanted to share with you some brief information that we are involved in here at Redan Middle School. First and foremost, our school improvement plan focuses on literacy across the curriculum, and in addition to math across all contents. So we want to make sure everyone understands that our school improvement plan is across the entire school, involved in literacy, mathematics, and improving our school climate. How do you know these things are working? Well, we know it's working because we implemented things like Teacher Talk Out, where teachers have an opportunity to get together in front of our leadership team to talk through implementing instructional acceleration, working on resources, implementing our school improvement plan to ensure our scholars are successful. So one of the new initiatives that we have here at Redan Middle School is to introduce a drama club led by Ms. James and Ms. Davis, our media specialists. Ms. James created a skit for our 6th graders where our teachers and our scholars were involved. It's called the Octopus Games, similar to the Squid Games. But however, in this particular skit, the students had an opportunity to really talk about student growth and what it looks like for them. Our scholars are very creative, and it was an awesome way to highlight what we're doing here at Redan Middle School. In addition to that, this year we have a student engagement coach that is working with about 60 students between the grades of 6th and 7th grade to help in their matriculation as they move forward to 8th grade. Our paraprofessionals here, we have 3 paraprofessionals that are working on getting certified as teachers. They're doing an awesome job in classroom working with our scholars to improve content and, again, acceleration. And lastly, we are implementing some SEL initiatives where our counselors are having small groups, and we are doing peer mediation and definitely working with some talking circles for our scholars to be able to have a safe space to express themselves. So when in doubt, know that we are doing the work here at Redan Middle School. Nothing has stopped us. We are definitely ready, and we want to make sure that everyone sees the work, knows the work, and understands what the work is. So we are proud of our scholars here at Redan Middle School, and I'm definitely proud of our faculty and staff, and I truly appreciate all that they do. Thank you for giving us this opportunity to highlight what we do here at Redan Middle School.
Redan Middle School, where we respect the process, elevate our thinking, dedicate our time, achieve greatness, and never give up. Be the change you want to see.
Greetings, Dr. Morley, District 7 stakeholders, and friends. I am Derek McCray, proud principal of Lithonia High School, where students enter to learn and leave to serve. I am joined by
Allison Vault, SGA President. Tanaya Ford, Miss LHS.
Marty Williams, Miss LHS.
Armani Holloway, Miss Basketball.
Octavius Cooper, Mr.
And here are the great things happening at Lithonia High School.
This fall, we had over 235 new scholars enter Lithonia High School, bringing our enrollment to a 5-year high of 1,535 scholars. Bulldogs are on the rise, and we are ready to learn in 2021.
In August, we kicked off our school-wide reading initiative by rolling out the book Punch in the Air by E.B. Zabor and Yusef Solomon from the Exonerated 5. Over 600 students began reading Punch in the Air using the standards in all grade levels. Teachers have inspired students to delve into the novel and understand the complexity in its many themes. One male said, "I love this book. It speaks to my life."
In September, over 1,500 scholars participated in the democratic process of selecting a new student government officer and new homecoming court. Congratulations to our new student leaders at LHS.
5 athletics conducted senior night at the football game while social distancing. LHS class of 2022 athletes, along with their parents, were able to recognize LHS student athletes for their accomplishments this year.
To kick off November, LHS will host New York Times best-selling authors Yusef Salom and E.B. Zaboy. In collaboration with education partners Page Turner Makes Great Learners, LHS students and teachers will participate in a virtual book discussion with the authors. We welcome these award-winning authors to Lithonia High School.
We are excited about the great things happening at Lithonia High, and our best is yet to come.
Everywhere we go, everywhere we go, people wanna know, people wanna know who we are, who we are. So we tell them, so we tell them, we are Lithonia, we are Lithonia, the mighty, mighty Lithonia, the mighty, mighty Lithonia. Woo!
Hello, I'm Principal Vitella Dotson of the great Redan High School. We've been having great things happen here at Redan, and we're going to share those updates with you. So get ready to catch those updates.
Hi, my name is Fiance Shepherd, and I am the Vice President of the Redan Chapter FBLA. This is our advisor, Tim Yamato, and this is our President, Michaela Watkins. We're here today to talk about FBLA.
So what is FBLA?
The main objective goal of FBLA is to provide America with the next leaders to run this country. And we do this by teaching them the basis of American enterprise and also explain to them how to behave in a professional manner. We also give them many lessons and workshops on how to handle money in the business world. Now, what are the activities and opportunities of FBLA?
FBLA has a broad range of opportunities and activities for scholars who join, from conferences, competitions, scholarships, and even networking and skill building.
And we're a Gold Chapter.
Redan's chapter of FBLA has been a Gold Chapter for the past 3 years.
In order to be a Gold Chapter, it requires hard work and dedication.
One thing we have at the Great Redan High School is our FBLA student store.
Thank you for coming again. Working at the store can teach you business skills, money management, and customer service.
Hopefully you learned a little bit more about Redan High School's chapter of FBLA. Now, on to the next.
Hi, I'm Jayla Cook. I'm Kennedy Daniels. And we recently received a $10,000 donation from Hibbett Sports and Nike.
We were one of the 10 to receive this donation.
We are gratefully appreciative of this donation.
And make sure you guys come out to support the Lady Raiders as we enter our basketball season.
See you later.
Whew, that was a lot of updates from the great Redan High School. I hope you learned a lot, and you know that we are busy working to make sure our students are successful. Thanks so much.
Okay, Dr. Morley, those were the videos that came in from your District 7 schools. So at this time, you can invite the other principals who did not share via video to share any good news or anything that's, happening over at Redan. I'm sorry, the other schools, I'm getting my schools mixed up, it's late. They can share at this time.
I tell you, I was sitting here, I was chuckling, I felt really great. The video was awesome. The things that are going on, such as unity, diversity, professionalism, democracy, all those things that are going on. We have any other principals that's on here, please. I want to thank most certainly Dr. Dees. I want to thank Ms. Brown, Ms. Dotson, Mr. McCray, everyone who sent in the video and those who did not, but that just shows you the fabulous, fantastic, awesome things that are going on in District 7 with our children, our principals, our teachers, our educators, everyone that's there. Any other principals that are on this courageous conversation, here's your opportunity to share in District 7 the things that you all are doing, the things that your children are doing, the things that your teachers are doing. Here's your opportunity to stand and let everybody know what's going on. Other principals on the call tonight.
Yes, ma'am. Good evening, everyone. This is Principal Mountain from Morley Traditional Theme School, and I am so inspired by that video and the great things going on at the other schools. We are all reimagining what public education looks like right now. We've gone through something that we never thought would happen, but in many ways, it's put us in a different space, in a very more technologically savvy space for our students as well. So that's what's happening in Marbury right now. Marbury Traditional Theme School is reimagining what academic achievement looks like. We've gone one-to-one with our students, and we have high academic expectations, and we focus on authentic parental engagement. So one of the things that we do know is that we cannot just go back to business as usual. Things will never be the same. And before we really get into the business of teaching and learning with our children, we have to work on helping them to heal from everything that has gone on. So we put a priority on the social emotional aspects of our school community. With nearly 2 years away from the building, it's important to attend to rebuilding that sense of community, making sure students know that we care about them and giving them some things to be involved in. So we're doing lots of mentoring. We are rolling out our chapters of My Sister's Keeper, My Brother's Keeper. We also are doing workshops. Recently, even this week, we did a workshop on teacher self-care, making sure that our educators take care of themselves and pause and do breathing exercises and deal in mindfulness. And we're also integrating that into our PE classes twice a week for our students because they're stressed as well. So we got to make sure that students and teachers know how to take care of themselves. And we also are doing next week, Save Our Sons, because we know that that is a subgroup. Our African-American males is a subgroup that we're really looking at, their academic achievement and how they're moving in our community and what resources we have for them. So we're doing a special workshop for parents on saving our sons, giving those boys 21st century skills. And so I also want to talk about just making sure that we have balance, because we put a big focus on academic achievement, but we also have to make sure we balance the social emotional piece for our children. But in the academic space, our students are doing really well. We've rolled out a program called iReady, and even this week, 85% of the lessons that our students took, they passed those in mathematics. 76% of the lessons they took in reading, they passed those. So our students are closing that gap that occurred during the pandemic. We have bi-weekly tutorials where our teachers stay after the school day and tutor our students in mathematics on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And parents have been coming in, picking those students up and being really supportive of that initiative. And then we recently, I'm not going to be the only one without a video now. We recently released a video, a 17-minute documentary outlining the return and the reopening of our school. And I'm going to put that link in the chat, but it's also on our website, because I don't want to carve out 17 minutes of your time for this, but I want you to take a look at what's going on in Margaret, because we know that our parents need to see what's going on in our schools. Because we're not able to let them in the doors, we took it upon ourselves to produce a video to show them what our students are doing. 17 minutes of a glimpse inside of our school community. We owe that to them because they're blessing us with their children all day. So I think we owe it to them to let them see what's happening within our school. So those are the things that are happening at Margaret. Our motto is commit to the challenge. And I want to close sharing some of the challenges that we're facing. One of the big challenges is the number of absences we're seeing for different reasons, whether it's COVID related or just unexcused absences. So we're trying to emphasize the importance of students being there. The second thing is the transience of students. A lot of parents are facing financial burdens. So many of them are moving. They're ending their lease and moving to other areas. Financial impact of COVID. And finally, there's the impact of displacements. That's the final thing that has really had an impact on us. About 2 months into the school year, we lost several teachers. And so we had to reorganize grade levels. People had to teach different subjects. And so, those types of things have had an impact on us. But we have a great group of teachers who are very resilient, and we are going to keep moving and doing the very best we can for children. So thank you for listening. Thank you, Dr. Morley, for everything you do and for having this courageous conversation with us.
Awesome. Anyone else? So at this time, we would like to share with you, we've got two very special guests on tonight, and that is Dr. Carolyn Stevens. And, I called her name first, but the bigger guest is her son, who did this absolutely wonderful presentation that we're going to share with you, because I'm sure a lot of you did not know, but Elijah brought it to the surface. He's a 7th grader. And Richard, if you would share that video, that would be great.
Dr. Carolyn King Stevens is best known as the first African American to play the organ for a Major League Baseball team. How did you feel to be the first Black female organist in Major League Baseball?
Well, Elijah, at the time, I was just a high school student. I had no idea that I would be making history. But looking back, once I found out about the different statistics about organists in the major leagues, I realized that it was a pretty significant event that had taken place. I remember when my dad took me to the audition, I was the youngest person there, and I beat out over 80 applicants, including the former organists who had been playing there for many years. And so I felt great about my accomplishments. And like I said, later on when I found out the historical significance of me being the youngest and the first African American to play in the major leagues, I felt pretty good about my accomplishments.
This is an article in Jet magazine featuring my mother, Carolyn King, in 1988 when she first started as the Atlanta Braves organist. This is an article in the Atlanta Journal-Constitution written by Terrence Moore. Did you feel like you were going to get the position for the Braves? And how did it feel to be the former organist?
Well, when I tried out, I was hoping that I would win, but I wasn't sure, and I knew that this was a huge opportunity and was going to be very rewarding. So I was hoping, like any other artist that tries out for a part in a play or a part to be in a band or a musical, I was hoping that I would get the job. I later found out that I won against the former organist, and I didn't gloat or anything like that. It was just, what happened. So I was glad to get the part and to be able to begin the job. I wasn't really concerned about who I beat or anything like that. I was just happy to be able to have such a wonderful job where I was able to play for thousands of people every night.
My mother was featured in Wikipedia. Carolyn Rose King, born 1970, is a musician known for being the stadium organist for the Atlanta Braves, the first African-American stadium organist in Major League history. When she started her job in 1988, she was also the youngest full-time organist in Major League Baseball history. What was your favorite song and why?
Well, I had many songs that I enjoyed, but I guess my favorite song would be the song that I played for every home game during the 7th inning. Can you guess what that is? Take Me Out to the Ball Game. Take Me Out to the Ball Game was the song where everyone would stand up and sing along. And there were some games where they would put my face on the screen while I was playing the song, and they'd show the fans singing and having a wonderful time. So I guess that would be my favorite song and the most popular song that I played.
Where did you see yourself with the Braves when you first got hired? Did you feel as though you wanted to quit, or did you feel as though you wanted to keep on with your job?
Well, that's a great question, Elijah. I was, when I first started, I just thought it would be a fun job to be able to watch the games and play the music that I had always heard growing up as a kid, and play all of the little games, da 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 da, and da 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 da. And so it just started out being something really fun that I wanted to do. But then it became a job where I was able to play for many important events. I played for the World Series. I was there when Sid Bream slid into home for that amazing ending to that championship game. I played for many of the All-Star games. I played for the Summer Olympics. And I was also there to play for smaller events, like I played for the wedding of one of the Braves players. I was also there to provide music for parties held by the baseball team. And so I was able to really become a part of the organization in ways that I never dreamed of.
Macy's sponsored her in a special concert at Lenox Square Mall. This is a commemorative championship can by Coca-Cola. She played for the 91st World Series Championship when the National League Braves won against the American League Cleveland Indians. The 1991 World Series was known as the greatest World Series of all time. If you look up in Google about the Tomahawk Chop, it says the Tomahawk Chop was adopted by fans of the Atlanta Braves in 1991. Carolyn King, the Braves organist, had played the Tomahawk song during most at-bats for a few seasons, but it finally caught on with Braves fans when the team started winning. This is a 25-year commemorative seat cushion. She was able to get her seat cushion signed by the entire team and her coworkers. This is my mother, Carolyn King, with former President Jimmy Carter on the field at Braves game. Would you join the Braves again?
Well, that's a great question, and many people have asked me that very same question, especially when I go to visit the stadium now and I see some of my old colleagues. They ask me, would I ever think about coming back? Well, the first thing is that they have a wonderful organist now. Matthew Kaminsky is a friend of mine and a colleague in the music business. And he's doing a wonderful job. And I understand the demands and the hard work that it takes to be a stadium organist. The season is very long. It starts in April. And if we go into the championships, we don't end until November. And so it was very difficult because I never got a spring break. I never got a summer break. I was always working. I would leave school, and then afterwards, when I had a job, I would leave work and have to go straight, leave my job as a school teacher and have to go straight to the stadium many days. And I'd have to report there around 5 in the evening. I'd eat dinner, and the game would start. It wouldn't be over till about 10 at night, and I would leave maybe around 11, get home 11:30, maybe sometimes around midnight, and hopefully there wouldn't be a rain delay. There were some times that games, if it rained, games could go on to 2 and 3 in the morning. So that time schedule became very difficult for me, especially after I had a family. And I also went back to school and went to grad school, and then after that did some more work in education, and it became quite demanding, and I just decided that I was ready to retire in 2005, and so I did. But I have no regrets at all. It was one of the most fulfilling jobs that I ever had. I made many friends, and my coworkers and colleagues were people that are very important to me and special to me even to this day. So I would like to thank you so much, Elijah, for choosing me to interview, and I wish you much success in all of your educational endeavors. Thank you.
Awesome job, Elijah.
Awesome.
We're so proud of you.
Yes, awesome.
We're proud of Mom, but we're also very proud of you.
Yes, great job.
And thank you for sharing with us that wonderful video.
Yes.
At this time, we are going to go into the meat of this conversation, which is the open discussion about what's on your mind, what's on your heart. So I am going to turn this over to Richard Stevens, one of our family engagement liaisons, who have put all of this together. Great job, Richard. I'm really pleased to see what I am seeing on the screen right now. So without further ado, Richard, if you will take this, I would appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you, Marcia. Greetings, everyone. As Marcia said, we want to know what's on your mind, what's on your heart. So this is going to be an open dialogue, open discussion. Now, I want you guys to take a look at your screen and take time to fill out this poll. I want to get my co-host Ann Ferreira to launch our poll. This poll is just going to give us a little assessment of where do you see yourself right now during the pandemic? Give us a baseline indicator. But then we're going to explore this a little bit deeper. We're going to go in depth, and we want you to turn on your camera. I want you to turn on your microphone and share with us. Let's see. Ann, have you launched the poll?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. So does anyone want to tackle that first question? Does anyone want to be courageous enough to turn on your camera and unmute yourself and tell us how are you rating your well-being right now?
Mr. Stevens, I will go ahead and I will start off. I'm somewhere in the middle, somewhere being that we just have gotten really into the depths of school and we're working. You have those days, the time changes. It's not as easy as it may seem and appear, but somewhere in the middle where we're still excited and we feel good about school, but the realities of it is that we're really in that grind right now. So, but I would just have to say in the middle.
Thank you so much, Principal Dees, Dr. Dees, for saying that. That is a principal, you guys. That's one of our principals, one of our leaders in the district, who has just shared that he feels somewhere in between, somewhere in the middle sometimes. It's okay to have ups and downs. Does anyone else want to share?
It's got to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We don't want everyone raising their hands at the same time, but there's got to be someone who's willing to share. Come on, family.
Good evening. My name is Mrs. Nakia Hill. I am definitely in between as well. I do think there is definitely days where it's great as an advocate that I am for both our community and my children. But what is the hardest part is to see my children stress out over certain things, particularly school, and just being able to manage their time and space while they're in school. So for me, even though I may be in between, my children, however, may not say the same for themselves. And so that's why I'm really here to advocate for them, because they are not always receiving that support that is necessary for social and emotional in their school.
Thank you for sharing that. Thank you. Does anyone else want to share? Do we have anyone who's lacking sleep? Now, I'll go ahead. I'll raise my hand. That's me on most days, lacking sleep. I love what I do. I love my job. But it's because I love my job that sometimes I can't pull myself away. Sometimes I give too much. And my wife has to even tap me on the shoulder sometimes, say, hey, it's okay. There'll be tomorrow. You can do something tomorrow. Let's go to bed. Is there anyone else who feels like sometimes because they love what they do, or because they feel like they have a lot of duties, maybe even at home with your children, that you don't find time for yourself or time to rest? Anyone?
Richard, I feel that same way. I suffer from insomnia, more so now that we're back in person. I think I was able to get a better rest pattern while we were, quarantining. And now that we're back, my sleep pattern is off. And we know that as we get older, and I'm past halftime, so it affects us. And then what you said about the work, because we do love what we do, and because we are now connected through these little boxes we're looking in now, we're more accessible. And I think we're driven to work more because it's right at our fingertips. So I am right there with you, my colleague. A little exhausted right here and looking for the Thanksgiving break. As I talk to parents in the community, they are saying the same thing, like, come on, Thanksgiving.
yes. Come on, Thanksgiving. But with that, when we talk about Thanksgiving, prices are going up. Inflation is real, and a lot of us are feeling it. Turkeys are. I've never seen turkeys this expensive, to be honest with you. I'm not the youngest guy. I'm not the oldest guy, but I've lived some years and I've never seen turkeys this expensive. So my wife and I, we're not even doing turkey. We decided we'll get some those Cornish hens. We're gonna get a couple of the hens and cut them up, and may even be able to save not just some money, but save on spoiling stuff, because we can't eat all that turkey. You usually get a big turkey. But is there anyone who's worried about finances or worried about external things that are going on in our lives outside of our, I guess, things that we can control? Does anyone have those worries?
Well, I do, but they're not my worries per se. My name is Katrina Arthur. They're actually outside the school, as in the kids. I am seeing a lot of students now that have a lot of issues, that are homeless, don't have enough clothes. They're in middle school but can't read. And it's just hard. So those are my outside issues that bother me day in and day out.
Well, thank you for sharing that. When we look at our second question, when we talk about these supports, now these are supports that pertain to our children, but they're school related, parenting related. Did anyone, you can raise your hand or using the raise hand icon if you don't want to share, but did anyone say that they were interested in getting supports for their child who receives exceptional education services? Okay. Do you find it difficult to get these supports from our district? Do you know where to go? No one wants to share? We're getting real. This is courageous conversations. We're getting real tonight. So
well, I'm here to be real with you.
Go ahead.
This is Miss Arthur again. I am special education, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we don't have time for real. In our work hours, what are our work hours? 8 to 4:15. We do not have the time we need to dedicate to these kids. I'm also a reading specialist. I would love to teach my kids how to read, right? But this year, instead of my caseload being, my EOT being my caseload, it's 20 kids with general ed and SPED. So I can't give them the services that they need. And it's very hard to do it in a large group.
Does anyone know how to contact your parent mentors? Does anyone have anything they want to share regarding parent mentors? I'm gonna put something in the chat. This is a link to our parent mentors page. Our parent mentors are there for our exceptional education students to help bridge that gap. So to help bridge the gap, the knowledge-based gap between the parents and the school. So if you need any assistance with navigating, I want to say the routines, the things that many of us take for granted, okay. For instance, I would tell a parent, oh, that's on our website. And my manager, Marcia Calvert, smack our hands and say, no, don't tell our parents it's on the website. And of course, I meant metaphorically smack our hands. She would say, don't tell them that it's on the website. Show them how to get to it. Show the parents where to go on the website, show them how to get these resources. And if they can't find it, you give it to them. You go give it to them. And we have not only our team of family engagement liaisons that do this, but specifically for exceptional education, we have our parent mentors. So I want you to go to that link and look into our parent mentors. Our parent mentors also have a workshop they're doing at 10 a.m. tomorrow. And I'll put the link to our family engagement schedule in the inbox, in the chat for you guys. What about your concerns that you have for your children in school? That question, that third question: grades, school performance, social emotional well-being, behavioral challenges, mental health challenges, and school safety. Does anyone want to comment on that?
Mr. Stevens, hello. This is Dr. Sanders here, and I've been following the chat, and I saw what one of our parents was asking about some resources for social and emotional learning, and how do they access some services for their children. And I also heard one of the parents talk about how there's not enough time in the day to do all that is being done. So what I want to share is that during the course of the day, that there are some resources within our schools to look at our children's well-being. We want to look at how their relationship skills are, how well they're getting along with their friends. Are they making good decisions? So there are some resources within your schools to address that. And what I will share with our parents, I know that with our babies coming back, it has been an adjustment. Everyone is coming back, and we are all adjusting. And it is, I don't even want to use the term a new normal, because we are all treading different waters. But the biggest thing I will say to our parents is, during the time of dealing with issues with our children, the best thing that any of us can do is to give them the time to be heard, to hear what it is that they're sharing, listen to them, reassure them. And then if there's something very specific that is happening with your children that you want some assistance around, we will be willing to help you navigate that with your child.
And Richard, I also want to add, this is why this is called Courageous Conversations. Thank you, Dr. Moore Sanders. It's imperative that we have conversations about what's going on. Here's an opportunity. If you don't say it out loud, put it in the chat. Your social emotional well-being is imperative. If you're not okay in your head and in your heart, the rest of you is not going to be okay. And if the children, we need to make sure our children go through a lot. And I thank the employee for speaking up and not having enough time. You know, nothing gets fixed if you don't speak about it. The squeaky wheel is the one that gets the oil. And so sometimes we get to a point where we're afraid of saying and speaking the truth. Truth does stand above all. Lies can come, but one thing about the naked truth, that even though a lie has stolen his clothes, he will still run around naked telling the truth. And so the bottom line comes down to, we cannot fix anything. We cannot do anything if we don't know that it exists. And you're talking about the homeless population. You're talking about all this going on. So not just services for the special needs, but we have services for everyone who has a need. And then those who are seeing themselves maybe not having the need is sharing with each other, you know, and I hate that we're not in person being able to do this. And you all know that over the past few years before COVID-19, we would either be at Clarkson High School or Redan High School holding these courageous conversations. You had a chance to talk. There's no reprisal. There's nothing to think about. There's no retaliation. This is your time. And if you don't feel comfortable with speaking up and speaking out, put it in the chat, because guess what? You're probably not the only one of thinking the way you're thinking. There are concerns. We have concerns about our children. You know, someone said, I want to be an advocate for my child. That's important. But we have to be advocates for all children, because children really can't do anything on their own. But we also have to advocate for our employees, the teachers, the principals. Everybody's having a difficult time. The secretaries, everybody, it's stretched. And then there's some who are even more stressed. And the only way that you can be helped is to be able to speak about it and admit there's something going on. When I'm working with clients, when I'm doing executive coaching, I'm doing counseling, I always say to people, the only way that you're going to be able to have balance is you have to have boundaries and you have to seek the help that you need. And if you don't know how, family engagement will help you to be able to do it. That's what we're here for. And so we don't want anyone coming back to believe or feel unwanted or afraid. You know, God didn't give us a spirit of fear. And the only way we're going to get something done is we hold these courageous conversations, for just as those people who shared tonight have shared, that these are some of the things we're going on. If the services are not there, we need to know. I'm only one board member, but I guarantee anyone can tell you in District 7 who knows Dr. Joyce Morley, that I will do my best to make sure it gets done. If there's something going on with the children, there's something going on with an employee, with a teacher, with the custodian, with the secretary, with food service, no matter who it, principal, no matter who it is, you know, that's what we're here for. And we have the services, you know, we've been providing services for a long time. I am a licensed psychotherapist. So when it comes to mental health and all of that, I know what it takes. Dr. Moore Sanders knows, Ms. Coward knows, everyone knows what's going on. The principals have to deal with it. It's been a heavy burden on everyone trying to come back and get back. What is normal? What's normal for one may not be normal for the other person. And so we don't know what that is. We have to decide what is ours. But at this particular time, it has been stressful. It's been difficult coming back. And sometimes coming back and not knowing the total story, not knowing what's really going on, or who to speak to, or who you think you can trust to speak to, that you can get things done. We don't want any children. We don't want any parents. We don't want any teachers, any principals, anyone to believe or feel fearful that they can't speak up. And if you can't speak up here, there's always a way that you can do it. And so it's important. That's why we call this courageous conversations. So you can stand and not be afraid. Courageously speak up, have the strength and energy and say, you know, no matter what, because you're not the only one feeling the way you're feeling, and you're not the only one thinking the way you're thinking. That's what's on your mind and what's on your heart.
We have our one of our school social workers with us, Ms. Stanley. Ms. Stanley, if you would like to go ahead and address some resources, community resources and things that we have for our parents, feel free to do that at this time.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, perfect. Okay, you guys couldn't hear me earlier. Okay, I had to switch to a different phone. Yes, I'm Miss Stanley. I'm the school social worker with the DeKalb County School District. We have been working very diligently with all our families and our students to do what we can to provide mental health support for our schools. We do individual, we do groups. We're the crisis team that are called out in times of crisis. We have, in some of our schools, we actually have school-based mental health programs, and, you know, making sure that our teachers okay. We do a lot of resiliency programs with our students and families, as well as just provide services. We have our homeless program that makes sure that our students get enrollment help, as well as get any uniforms and school supplies they may need. And that's, you know, with our students that suffer fires and those kind of things, those resources are available as well. And just whatever those needs that parents feel like are hindering their children and themselves from having a successful school day daily, we're working to try to eliminate some of those obstacles for them. And so every school is assigned a school social worker. We do have multiple schools, but we are very responsive to our schools. And so if parents ever feel the need or want to get in contact with the school social worker at their school, it's just as easy as calling and saying, hey, I want to speak to the school social worker, because each school is assigned one.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. And see some members of our community stakeholders, Lance Hammond, and then Steve Paris. If you go ahead, Mr. Hammond.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Morley, for this courageous conversation and giving me permission to speak. I wasn't going to say nothing, but since this is a safe place, I'm going to say
Could we stop you, Mr. Hammonds?
Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead.
Yeah. When you say social emotional learning, that was a difficult concept for me to understand. I've had to ask Ms. Nakia Hill, she's our education chair for the branch now, and I had to try to understand what you were talking about. I've got 7 grandkids. You know, if I don't understand the term, what should I be looking for? You know, I'm just not really sure if, you know, like I said, I've had the term explained to me, You know, I know what it says in writing, but what should I be looking for?
I can share some information with you, sir. So what I hear is that you've got 7 children at home, grandchildren at home.
Grandchildren, yes.
Grandchildren. And what you want to do is to know whether or not those babies are doing well. Don't know if they're little or big, but they are still your babies.
We got the range.
You got the range. And so one of the things that when we talk about wellness for our kids, what are they saying? Are they talking at all? When you ask what is going on, are they giving you language back to describe the feelings and things that are going on to you, or are they withdrawn and not talking at all? Are they able to talk to you about their friends, whether or not they have friends? Are they good relationships that are going on with their friends?
Okay.
When things are happening and they feel a little overwhelmed, are they able to express any of that to you? So right now, what we know is that many of our children, they're feeling overwhelmed because the children really want to be back to being children. They really want to be able to do lots that they did not do before. And we're coming back into a space. Okay. And so what I share is, if they are not able to talk with you or to share anything, you sort of pick up on that. Watch their moods. Are they pulling away more than they used to? You look at those kinds of connections. And what I will share with you is that depending upon where they are, some of these things might be developmental. They may be transitioning from, you told me you have a range, they may be transitioning. They may be becoming adolescents or getting a little older where they're not wanting to share. But the biggest thing we can do in terms of understanding where our children are, as I mentioned before, is to be present with them. Be present enough where you give them your undivided attention. You set the time where if they need to talk to you, you are available, which means that you put your phone down, you move some other things aside, and you spend that time listening to them and doing the connection. And then the children typically will pick up. I see someone in the chat say monitor social media. Yes, do that as well with your children so that you have a good sense of what it is that is going on. I would also say for me, and I know Dr. Morley, you can definitely add into this, definitely make sure that children are using their language, because what we are trying to do is not let social devices and everything take over language from our kids. Because that, if we lose the language, we lose the emotions, we lose what is going on. So I would say for you, sir, the best thing you can do is to be present and upfront. And if you notice that there are some concerns, talk to someone and see what type of assistance you can get for them.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Morrison. And I want to also add, Mr. Hammonds, when you talk about that social, is how they're relating to other people, how they relate to you. That's a social aspect, relating to their friends, relating to their peers, relating to other adults. How they're communicating. You know, it's sad that many times we go to the store. I was at a store the other day and the young man was so rude. And so the social skills and being able to be respectful and things like that, emotional, what are they feeling on the inside? Checking in, we go and we have annual checkups every year, physical checkups. But how often do we do a mental health checkup? I used to do a TV show where we would do marriage checkups. We need to have all kinds of checkups and check-ins. Asking your children, my granddaughter, who's in her 20s now, and I would ask her when she was little, what are you thinking? And she would say, what do you mean? I'm not thinking anything. I said, no one is around not thinking anything. You're thinking something. And so now she says to me, Grandma, I understand. Because I was thinking, you know, we're thinking beings. And I would ask her, what are you feeling? Help them to define feeling words. You know, I give out to clients a list of feeling words so that they can identify with it and understand it. But the other thing is, as parents and adults, the COVID-19, many children have become mini me's. They hear the parents saying one thing and griping and complaining and saying that, they pick up on that. And so you have to be careful what you're saying. So it's one of those things is do as I say, not as I do, but you have to be careful of what you're doing, what you're saying. So if you have a depressed parent all the time and not getting help, that child is going to pick up. I don't know whether many people realize that when a mother is carrying that child in the womb, if that mother has to go through trauma, post-traumatic stress, whatever the feelings and emotions are, that child is going to be, it's going to go into that baby. So we have to learn to be models, and we have to be role models. Models mean limits, boundaries. For some reason, we've gotten to the point where we believe that, especially the boys, that they don't need boundaries, they don't need curfews, they don't need to be told what to do. They do need, children want to be told what to do. Children want guidelines. Children want to have conversations. And parents, don't be afraid to let your children know that you failed, faltered, and you made a mistake, that you failed, and you faltered. Basically, what you want to have them to see is that it's okay, but you can get back up. So when they're carrying fears, when they're being bullied, I used to say to my daughters, who are all grown now, and I used to say to them, there's nothing that you can do so wrong that you can't tell me. I'd rather you tell me the truth about no matter how it is, rather than tell a lie. And as they became adults, they always say, you gave us that permission. Give children permission to feel, give children permission to be, and give children permission, as Dr. Moore Sanders said, to talk. But be present with them. Listen. And don't all the time make them go along with what you have to say, but hear what they have to say. And you know what? I'm gonna say this lastly. One of the things, since we're in the month of Thanksgiving, which should be 12 months of the year, is being able to say, I'm sorry, and let your children see that you can apologize. Let them give you feedback sometimes. You know, how do they see you? It may not be what you want to hear, but you can't come back and get at them because of what they're saying. So what you're doing, you're modeling for them. And so that social aspect, how you relate to your friends, your family, your wife, your husband, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your co-workers, your employees, that's showing them how you socialize with other people. So you're modeling for them. And then your emotions. If you're not willing to go get help and get with a therapist, you'd rather have all the important, carry the purchase that you paid $1,000 for, they have nothing in them, and your heart is still empty, or wear the kind of shoes and Prada and everybody else and Mata and Hada and whoever else, and you're not willing to show those children, we're going to go to therapy. And I want to say this last, don't ever let anyone work with your child from a therapeutic perspective unless the family is involved, because you cannot make the child believe he or she is the identified patient, the problem. Everybody has to make some concessions. Everybody has to adjust. Everybody in the household has to do something different. So as they grow, everybody's growing together.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that.
Family, again, the school social worker. And I was just going to, and I put in the chat also that it is important for parents also to remember, for your child's social emotional health, they may not feel comfortable always coming to a parent to discuss things. Encourage your children to have a person, a trusted adult, someone you can approve of, whether it's a teacher, mentor, their counselor at school. Just make sure that your students have somebody that they can identify with, so that you feel comfortable knowing that at those times when they can't come to you, they still have someone that they can talk to and talk about some of their feelings with, and not feel like they're going to be judged or punished at times. And so it's important to surround your children with those kind of adults as well.
That's important. And it's someone that they can trust and that you can trust. You must know who your friends are. They can't come to you with nicknames. Don't be afraid to go in that room and know what's going on in that room. Guess what? I pay the cost to be the boss. You don't have your cell phone. You do need a loan. You don't own your own home. You're not yet grown. So you're going to have to go about what I say. And you have to have those conversations and let them sometimes tell you what they think. But you're right. Have those trusted adults that they can go to. Know who your friends are with. One of the worst things that ever happened was that young man, the 14-year-old that was shot to death at the party. And the mother said, I didn't even know he was going to a party. Don't be afraid to get full names. You need to talk with these parents. That's spending the night and not knowing. You don't know what's going on over at another person's house. So you have to be on top of those things and let that child know. There's some other people's hands raised, so I don't want to go on too long.
Steve Paris.
Yes. Hello, Dr. Morley. Thank you for putting on this event. I just have a question related to some of the discipline policies in the district. And I saw in the I think there's a manual that I looked at that had something about some of the discipline policies, and I saw something about restorative practices. And I wanted to know whether the school district has enough support that they need in order to implement restorative practices as would be beneficial for the students and the staff.
Dr. Moore Sanders, you want to answer that? I'm going to say this quickly. There's never enough. We have over 90-some-thousand students, and we can always use more. I'd like to see more counselors, more social workers, more psychologists. I'd like to see more volunteers for the time. We can't have people in at this particular time, but once we get to that COVID piece, but Dr. Moore Sanders can provide more. I've been fighting for a long time. And I think some of that support also can be everyone in the district. And I fought for that a few years ago and it was thwarted, should be trained in mental health awareness and understanding exactly what are some of the signs, what are some of the signals. That's from the custodians, the cafeteria workers, all the way up to the school board members. And so those are some of the things at some point that we'll get to a place where we can accept it no matter who it's coming from and be able to say, because if you're aware and you know what's going on, you'll recognize the signs and then being able to provide information as to where children can be referred to, but not just children. We've lost some employees, commit suicide, things like that. And no one wants to talk about it. And when you have a closed mouth society, then you're going to have things closed off where people are not knowing what's going on.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Dr. Morley. And in response to the question around restorative practices, what I can share is that it is not being done right now systemically. We do have a grant that we applied for and did receive so that we can get additional people trained in order for us to build capacity within our system to make sure that we can do that. But what I will share with you is that through our multi-tiered systems of support, one of the things that we have been trying to do within our schools is make sure that students are not punished for everything that they should do. That there is modeling going on, that there are opportunities for students to learn and things not be punitive. So those should be our practices that we are doing in the schools. But I will share with you is that to both points, we know that to restore a child and not damage a child through punishment is the way that we should go. But we also know that we have to have some level of rules and some level of expectations within our schools. And it is our desire to make sure that we teach our children well when they are making mistakes and allow them to make those mistakes, but also give them the tools that they need so that they learn from those mistakes.
Thank you, Dr. Moore Sanders. I see Dr. Crossland. Dr. Crossland.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Stevens. I just wanted to also reiterate what the social worker department, Ms. Stanley, was saying is that within our Division of Equity and Student Empowerment, the school counselors are the boots on the ground, as we can say. There is one in every single school in this district. And anytime a parent or a student is in need, that usually is the first person that the parent should reach out to, because they will make those referrals to the social worker, to the psychologist. But within that, I also want to say that we have some things embedded, as the parent was asking about social emotional learning. Our elementary and middle school counselors do have social emotional learning lessons that they are required to do and report that data back to the district. And the lessons vary on relationship building, bullying, and also most importantly, one of the big pushes from the state is human trafficking and abuse. And basically what we try to reiterate from the counseling perspective by the counselors going into the classroom on a regular basis and delivering those lessons, that those are our tier 1 supports, which means every student in the district should get those tier 1 supports through the SEL lessons. But while they're in those classrooms, it allows them to build relationships with the students and get to know them and see which students need those tier 2 and tier 3 supports, which for our counselors, it would be the small group sessions, which could be group grief sessions, it could be study skills sessions, it could be anger management. And then also, if they need it, we have individual counseling. So again, we work on a 3-tier support system in counseling, and our first tier definitely includes the SEL lessons that we have identified that are required at certain grade levels. And again, this is built in to ensure that the counselors are putting a face with the name and touching the kids, and the kids know who they can come to, and that person is a safe person to talk to. And if the counselors aren't able to handle it, again, we have our partners in crime, as they say, our social workers and our psychologists. We reach out to them and we bring them in if it's more than what we are able to handle just at the local school level. So I just wanted to add that in about the SEL lessons and what does it really mean, because there are different levels of SEL. But it definitely, one thing that I want people to always understand is it's not just one person in the building. It is the custodian, it is the secretaries, it is the teachers, it is the counselors. In order for it to be a true SEL program, that means everyone is touching that child's life in some way. But just to reiterate, the counselors do have set lessons at those elementary and middle school levels. We also have resiliency lessons that the middle school counselors are required to do as well for 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. And they do report back on those lessons as well to let us know how many students actually received those lessons. And we've had wonderful feedback on those resiliency lessons. And the students seem to really love them. So there are some pieces that are out there that people may not hear about all the time, but they are out there. And we do have a strong team of counselors that are working with our students every day.
Thank you.
Is it okay for me to chime in?
Yes, go ahead, Dr. Franklin. Yes.
It's Ms. Franklin. Hi, good evening, everyone. I'm Kimberly Franklin, Coordinator of Psychological Services. And similar to the school counselors and the school social workers, the school psychologists are in every building. They have multiple schools that they provide services for, but they are most definitely available to provide individual and small group counseling. As psychologists, we have to have parental consent. So we cannot work with any student without your permission. So we work with students that are exhibiting some significant concerns. And if you need to reach out to us, school counselors, like Dr. Crossan stated, will be able to direct you to us so that we can provide that additional support that is needed. We're also active members of the MTSS process, which is the tier process for identifying kids that are at different levels and in need of different type of supports, from tier 1, tier 2 to tier 3. We're more active on a tier 3 level with those kids who are having significant academic concerns and significant social, emotional, behavioral problems. So we would be present in those meetings to help to offer some research-based interventions to help our scholars to develop and to grow and to develop their social, emotional, and behavioral skills. We're there also for Section 504 meetings and IEP meetings as needed. So please know that we are here and available to support you. We cannot work with any student without your permission. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. I want to just chime in very quickly before I go to our next two, we'll say our last two speakers, our principals that want to chime in. But I just want to say that I was working with Dr. Moore Sanders and still currently working with Dr. Moore Sanders to develop a mental, social, and emotional wellness program for our parents. Allow me to be candid. I see a psychiatrist. I see a psychologist. I am in therapy. And I encourage those around me to do the same. You need someone to talk to. I am a minister. I have a background in pastoral counseling, a background in psychiatry. I have a background in counseling. Yet I still need to talk to someone. I still need to visit someone and regroup. And I want to encourage any parent out there that feels like there's too much going on, that the weight of this pandemic, the weight of the world is on your shoulders, and you feel like you don't have anyone to go to. Who do the strong go to when they feel weak? Who does the pastor go to when he needs prayer? I say you always have to find someone to be that anchor, that person that can pull you back in, ground you, and you need to just be able to regroup. So we are developing the regroup mental, social, and emotional wellness program for our parents. So we have supports for our students, but we're not forgetting about our parents. So if you need someone to talk to, we're going to do forums like this, but on a smaller scale, more frequently. And we will have licensed counselors. We are teaming up with NAMI. We are teaming up with the CAB, Community Service Board. And we are going to have people there that can counsel you and help you through what you're going through. You're not in this alone. I see.
Let me
yes.
say one more thing before you go on, because I want to get Dr. Dees has been waiting a while and someone else. But the other thing is, I've been fighting for quite some time as a board member in order to get licensed professional licensed mental health people in the district. And had we done it a few years ago, we would have set the standard. But I believe that Cobb or one of the other districts has beat us out. It is past time for us to not have it with this many students and almost 15,000 employees. We should have people that people can go to and trust with confidence and knowing that everything they talk about is confidential. And I need the community. I can't fight by myself to have all these things going on. Listen to the board meetings, attend the board meetings, stand up, and speak out. And so we can get these things. We have an almost $2.4 billion budget. And we need to look at how many counselors, social workers, and psychologists were added. And one of the things that when I spoke with the Secretary of Education, the real Secretary of Education, in a face-to-face Zoom meeting, he said to me, I would have thought that every school district would have increased the number of counselors, doubled, he said, the number of counselors, social workers, and psychologists. So we want to talk about COVID-19. If we're not willing to take care of where we are and who we are and our children and our staff members and people like that, our teachers, our secretaries, so everybody is going through insurmountable odds. And I'm glad to hear Mrs. Stevens talk about the fact that, yeah, there's going to be, we've been trying to take care of parents all along. You know, family engagement has done that, but you have to speak up and speak out. As I said, I'm only one board member and I can only do so much. But one thing that you all can always say about Dr. Joyce Morley, I stand for the truth, on the truth, and I speak the truth. I fight for the children and for the community of DeKalb County, not just District 7, all over, but most certainly District 7 is where the people brought me in and want me to represent you all, and that's what I'm doing.
Thank you. Dr. Dees?
Just wanted to add a little bit more and to say thank you to both Mr. Parris and Mr. Hamilton for even bringing that up, because I think that's part of the whole thing, that when you begin those conversations, we began to open up opportunities to even ask, what does this even mean? Many of us on this call can kind of grow up or remember growing up in an era where there was only 5 network stations that were on television. Now when we're looking at all of the things that are out there for children to see and so forth, those are the things that we're talking about when we say social emotional. How do we give them that opportunity to express? And if we've built a world around them where you don't talk and you don't get a chance to speak out or to say the things, then you end up blowing up inside. And that's what we face with a lot of our children today. So from a school level, one of the things that we've done, and we work extremely hard in our building, is to build that opportunity for those children to have opportunities to speak, to share their thoughts, to be able to express what it is that they're doing. But then we also need the adults like yourselves to be able to go back out into the community and to help others to understand exactly what it is that you're asking and saying yourself. Believe it or not, when we go to the barbershop, it's a known fact in the Black community, especially, that a lot goes on in the barbershop. Share that information about how it is to express and helping our young people to be able to give that expression and understand what does that term SEL mean, social emotional learning, and help people to understand social emotional learning isn't sitting over there in the corner and being quiet and not talking until I tell you to talk. It is that giving that opportunity to express, but you have to build that relationship. And I think we as people, if you think about it, in this forum, we've only got no more than 70 people here talking, and many of them are actually school teachers and people of the school. But how often do we get our opportunities for our neighbors and colleagues to be a part of conversations like this. Be a part of that conversation, to share out, to say, come and be a part of this and hear it yourself, so that you can go back, even if you analyze and put your own spin on it, at least know what it is that we're talking about together. The better we are with that communication with our community, the better we are going to be for our children.
Thank you, Dr. Dees.
And I'm not sure if we lost Richard, but I know Ms. Davis had her hand up as well, and that will be the last comment so that we can get you home to dinner.
Yes.
Good evening, everyone. And Mr. Paris actually brought up a pretty good point when he was talking about the restorative practice. And as a principal of a middle school, middle ages are a difficult age depending on how you look at, what they're doing. With the pandemic, of course, it added another layer to our students and this hormonal changes that they're going through. This is that phase. One of the things I think everyone needs to realize, and I'm really helping Mr. Paris when he's asking the question, embedded in the student code of conduct, there are tiered supports. Within the tiered supports for the student and how we deal with the consequences for the students, there are pieces in there that speak to using the counselor and the wraparound supports to help the student before it escalates. There are some instances where we definitely cannot, we bypass that because of the severity of the incidences. So just know that there are pieces in there, even without restorative practice being a complete tool for every building, there are pieces in there with some supports for our scholars. Dr. Morris Sanders actually implemented some things with some of our buildings. I'm one of those buildings that have APEX support, which is some psychology support for our families. We are utilizing them, but just like any other service, one service or one or two people assigned to a building sometimes may not be enough, but it is a beginning, especially with our communities. And so it's incumbent on our parents to help us along the way, because the services actually offer support to parents and faculty and staff also. So it's not limited. So that's one of the services that we probably don't speak about enough, but we do have some additional wraparound services that are continuing to be embedded within our programs. Our counselors are working very hard, and you can hear the different things that they're doing. Again, they are few, but they are strong in how they're utilizing their skills. And Dr. Morley is correct. Ongoing training for all of us helps, but our parents need training too to understand the process. And so thank you for even asking that question, because it was important for everyone to hear it. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Morley?
Yes, we've come to an end. And it went by so fast. I mean, this is great. I wish we had more time. There have been times when we would be live at Redan High School or over at Clarkson High School, and 7:30 would come, and I would say to them, you all might not want to go home, but you've got to leave here. So we have gone on to like 8:30, 9 o'clock, literally. Rain, but we also had food. So we're going to get back to that. I just want to say, I want to thank everyone who's had a hand in making this all possible. Starting with Ms. Coward, Ms. Marcia Coward, Mr. Stevens, Richard Stevens, Ann Ferrara, Dr. Moore Sanders, and our guests, our principals. Give our principals and our teachers and our children a hand. All the people who are part of this, Dr. Dees and Mr. Mountain and Ms. Davis and Ms. Dotson. And so and Mr. There was another principal we had on here, Mr. McCray. And so, but that's not limited to all of the principals that we have in District 7. They're all important. They might not have all been here tonight, but each one of them work hard. I was on an NSBA, National School Boards Association meeting a couple of weeks ago, and some of the board members, this is national boards, and they were land blasting and talking about, how lazy our principals and our teachers are, and they really wanted to be on virtual so they wouldn't have to work. And I sat there and I couldn't take it any longer. And I said I'm not going to say it to them, I cannot sit here any longer. and allow you all to berate our teachers and our principals, our educators. These people are here because they want to be. And so I will always stand for our children, stand for our educators, from the secretary to the custodian, to the bus drivers, to the food service workers, anyone, even our officers, who work for the district. Everyone is important from top to bottom. I do know that our superintendent was on a little while ago. Is she still here? If she wanted to have any closing remarks, Mrs. Cheryl Watson Harris, is she still here?
I think she just logged off recently.
Okay, thank you. We will continue, and I want to thank her for, giving Ms. Coward the direction for her to be able to put this together. This is not an easy feat. This whole situation doesn't come by overnight. And I can tell you, Ms. Coward was up 2, 3 in the morning. She told me she was going to go to bed and get, not worry about anything, but she doesn't. I want to say that the family community engagement is phenomenal. We've had people from all over the country trying to find out what we do. And I've had Ms. Coward to speak with board members from all over the country. DeKalb County stands above the rest. And we do have a program for parents to go back and get their GED. We fought for that. And I'm going to let Ms. Coward tell a little bit more and some of the other things that are coming up during this month. It is so important that as we do what we do, I really need the support. I need the support of the community, parents, and I'm gonna give you my number all again, because if I was in person, I'd give you my number. And for anyone, don't be afraid to have any fear at all about calling me if there's a concern. But I don't want to just hear about the concerns. I want to hear about the great things like we did tonight. Tonight was a chance to talk about all the wonderful things. Mr. Parrish, I thank you. Mr. Hammonds, I thank you all for the questions that you brought up. The educator who talked about the problems and wasn't afraid and was courageous enough to speak of it. My number, my telephone number, you can reach me and I will return calls. People don't believe it, but I do return calls. My number is 404-599-9632, 404-599-9632. And I also want to say thank you to Ms. Carolyn King-Stevens and her son for the wonderful presentation. Did you all know that we have a teacher at Clarkson High School who was the first African-American organist for the Braves? You didn't know that until tonight, I'm sure. She shared that with me. We should be proud of ourselves, proud of what we do, what we're doing, and how things are going to get even better for us. I just want to thank you, Ms. Coward, and everyone else who put this together. I think it's been awesome. Sometime along the way, we'll have more time. We just don't have that time tonight. Ms. Coward?
Absolutely. And instead of me talking about it, Richard did do a video, or should I say the team did a video. We're just in this COVID space that we don't want to go back. I've just developed all of these movie stars and TV producers. So Richard, take us out with that video.
Greetings, courageous conversation, and welcome to the Mobile Learning Hub. The Mobile Learning Hub has been a vision in our department for many years. We're so happy to have our Mobile Learning Hub on the road. We are up and down the streets of DeKalb County School District. If you see us, wave at us. If you see us with the orange tents, with our tables out front, come by and see us. Come on up on the bus and get a tour, or sit down, get your Infinite Campus logins, or any other information and resources that you need from the DeKalb County Department of Family Community Empowerment. We hope to see you on the mobile bus tour.
Feliz Mes Nacional de la Participación Familiar. ¿Sabía que noviembre es el Mes Nacional de Participación Familiar? Esperemos que se unan a nosotros en nuestras visitas a la comunidad y talleres virtuales. Para obtener más información, síganos en Facebook, Instagram y Twitter. Pueden hacer clic en este enlace en el video de este mensaje.
Engagement Month 2021. We're so excited because we get an opportunity to present to the district all of the fabulous activities for Family Engagement Month. We started off with Mobile Impact Mondays. We'll be in a community near you. Our next upcoming event is this Saturday, November the 13th, 2021. We'll be at the Money Women's Center, located on Memorial Drive, right behind Memorial Presbyterian Church. They have an outdoor event. Please come out. It starts at 12:30. We hope to see you there. Well, that won't be the only opportunity you get to see the family of us in the community. We'll be coming out Monday. It's called Mobile Impact Monday again. On November the 15th to Belvedere Plaza. Yes, what a program. When you buy your 5 for 10, look for the bus. We'll be out there providing infinite campus resources and tell you all the great things we'll be doing on our Mobile Impact course. Again, Monday, November the 15th, Belvedere Plaza at 10 o'clock a.m. Don't be left out. Okay, you think that's the only 2 opportunities we have for the month of November? Oh no. We have another opportunity for you to see our great bus. On November the 20th, November the 20th, remember that day, the Cobb County School District, along with Lorraine Cochran Johnson, the commission, will be at Wade Walker Park YMCA for our Fall Festival 2021 at 2 p.m. Don't miss it. Come out November 20th.
And on December 5th, we'll have another opportunity to have a mobile learning hub unit in the community. We will be out on Sunday, December 5th with our Ethiopian Community Association of Atlanta, servicing our families in that community on Sunday, December 5th with the Mobile Learning Impact Hub.
Now, you say, is that all we offer for Parent Engagement Month? Oh no. We had a whole month and we continue to have a month of activities, a virtual workshop for our parents. We have workshops talking about stress, how to relieve that stress. We got parent workshops for our EL families. We also have opportunities for our families to have workshops for our students with disabilities. We also have lunch and learn break. When you at your job, you on your lunch break, take an opportunity to stop, go to the Cobb County's website, look for the parent engagement schedule, and we have lunch and learn breaks. We have our own Mrs. Taffy Fletcher and our Check Connect students who will be presenting the vision boards, how you and your family can actually work on your vision board. We also have an opportunity where we just recently had our community police officers who had a lunch and learn break with the Cobb County. So we have so many great things to offer to you. And 2 more things I want to tell you about. We'll be having our Family Matters game night on November the 18th. You got to come out 6 o'clock p.m. with your family and participate virtually with us for our Family Matters game night. And last but not least, you know I got to have something special for you. So families, guess what? November 19th, we have our Parents Night Out. Yes, virtually though. So get in front of your Zoom, get ready to party because we're going to have a night of karaoke and a live DJ to party and to relax and get ready for the Thanksgiving break. We in the Cobb County School District love our parents and we want to support you and continue to support you. So with the Department of Family and Community Empowerment, we want to say thank you so far for joining us. Don't forget about the rest of the activities that we have going on for the month. Because here in the Cobb County School District, we are connected together, stronger than ever. Thank you so much.
We won't get bored with any of that. There's so many activities. And Dr. Moore Sanders, thank you so much. Thank you all. And the next time, invite somebody else to be a part of this courageous conversation. And we'll be back in person at some point so I can come in and see you all and we can do this all again. Thank you all so much for this evening.
Thank you.